There we go. I think the camera is straight.
Okay. Hey, Pugs. This is Colin for your Friday Designer Spotlight. Hopefully, you found us at noon again. We were at 12:30 yesterday due to a 2020 thingy, but we're back at noon, and we're here today with Nick Vanderhovel. Nick is a bright, rising young star in the kitchen and bath world and home world. He is the proprietor of Artisan Kitchen Bath Home. Did I say that right, Nick?
Yep, yep.
Yep. And so we're going to just talk to him a little bit about a bunch of stuff. And I'm going to first say hi to Karen. Karen's here back again this week.
Hey, Colin. How you doing?
I'm doing well, thanks. And I'm just going to have Nick come in and say hello. Hey, Nick.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
So we met in person. You're one of the few pugs that I was lucky enough to meet in person at KBIS back in January. Yep. You and your lovely then girlfriend, but now fiance, Brandy.
Yeah, she coerced me. Yeah, Brandy.
And congratulations, by the way. You just were engaged about a little less than a month ago, right?
Yeah, actually, 1 month to the day.
Oh wow. That's perfect. We should have had Brandy here too.
She's in the back room right now getting ready.
Okay, cool. So we'll bring her out after. That's awesome.
She'll come out at the end probably.
Yeah. Awesome. It'll be good to see her. So you were brought up in a family business, were you not?
Yeah, my mom was a 20-year kitchen and bath designer when I joined her ship. So now she's almost 30 years designing kitchens, and my twin brother is a kitchen designer as well.
Yeah, and identical twin?
Identical twin.
Yeah. So so a lot of the things you very, very active in the 2020 Design Power Users Group, and shared a lot of stuff with us, a lot of your renderings and a lot of your after photos, which has been great to see. And you did everything that you've done up to this point. You were with the family business at the point, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what, I mean, other than the obvious, wanting to be on your own and make your own way, was there anything else that prompted you to just kind of go off on your own?
My family, our company was Dream Kitchens, is Dream Kitchens, and it is a phenomenal company. And it focuses mostly on cabinets, counters, and hardware.
Okay.
And just kind of giving the basics for the kitchen design. I kind of like putting all the pieces together. So I take care of all of that, plus the plumbing, the tile, the lighting, the flooring, the labor. I'm a licensed builder as well. So I like to kind of take care of the entire project.
So, and that's something that your mom and brother, I'm guessing, weren't really wanting to go towards, wanting to stay more with the products and design, and your want to go towards more of a design build model. And correct. That couldn't happen if they're not willing to be on board with that.
Yeah, it just didn't jive with the model they wanted. I mean, my brother, if he had his way, he would be just cabinets only. He loves to design just cabinetry. My mom has been doing it so long that she just is very content in her ways. And I mean, everybody around the area knows her. She's kind of the go-to kitchen designer in the area.
That's great. Would there be the opportunity for you to do like joint ventures with them ever? Is that something that can happen?
One coming up here soon. I got a good sized 6-figure project, and it's closets, bathroom, leveling up, part of an open ceiling to drop down and add some space. And it's just not everything that they do. And so I'm going to be partnering with them to take care of the other half of the project and do the tile designs, the plumbing designs, lay out the coffers and the ceilings, design the closets, just the other side of it. So it'll be my first joint operation with my past operation.
Yeah, that's great that you have the opportunity to do that. You hear a lot of times splits in family businesses happen for negative reasons. And it's great to see that this was something that was positive and that is something that you'll still get to work with them, but also do your own thing. I love the name. I love the business name, and I think that you're doing a great job with the branding. Branding. I'm a big believer in branding. It's something that you want to You want to, and like you said, you want to do more than just kitchen. Right. I think right before we went live, you were saying that, your Instagram is Kitchen Envy, which we were talking about and we thought was really neat. Because, you can give people kitchen envy. Envy's one of the deadly sins, 7 deadly sins, but used well, it can be used in a fun way. And your Instagram's very active. And we were talking about how, you really want to venture away from just kitchens, but it's a great foot in the door because, you truly have the ability to then go sell other projects in the house. And, your personality is such that, you can just, strike up a conversation about other rooms as you're walking through the home and, kind of generate interest and, get add on sales that way. So that's really kind of neat.
Yeah, the Kitchen Envy, I have a dream. The dream is to work on only like most interesting and fun and detailed and wild kitchens that I can. And that's the Kitchen Envy model. And so I actually have a Kitchen Envy website. I have a Kitchen Envy company. My Artisan Kitchen Bath Home company, Artisan being handcrafted, this handcrafted kitchen, handcrafted home, is more for everyday projects, people who need help that aren't looking to spend that $200,000 on their kitchen. They're looking to hit that 40, 50, 60 mark and somebody take care of them through that process, not just sell them some pieces and like, okay, go find your labor, okay, go find your tile. So Artisan is my overall. I will have designers there. I was with a landlord this morning, actually. I think I'm buying a building
Nice.
Monday. And that's when I'll be opening that showroom. And then Kitchen Envy, of course, will be alongside of that, but a separate intention. So Artisan is the foreground and Envy is the goal.
So can I ask a question? So
no,
when
Karen,
you
this
were
is my show. Stop.
So when you were deciding on a location, you have the opportunity to rent or to purchase. What took you into the avenue of purchasing a location?
I'm going to be renting this one.
Oh, you are going to be renting. Okay.
I put off for like 5 months now to this sounds terrible, to wait for the economy to maybe take a little dive, for more retail space to become available, and it hasn't.
Oh.
And prices are still going up and spaces are still limited. And so I had to kind of weigh the benefits. I would love to buy a property, but man, it's just way too expensive right now, especially going off on my own. I'll probably be looking at it as a 5 to 10 year plan to purchase my next property.
Excellent. Yeah, I think that's an excellent plan.
Yeah, especially if you find something that has, a couple of additional units. I know I'm probably not telling you something you don't already know, but I think there are those of our viewers that don't think of things in these terms. If you get something that has, your main space and then a couple of other spaces that you can rent out, why not have somebody else pay your mortgage or part of your mortgage, if at all possible.
That's the dream.
Yeah.
So I do want to get involved into property management like that as well. And of course, once you can buy a multi-tenant building, you get 3 other people in there and your rent's paid. That's a great plan. But the costs are steep in the beginning.
Right.
The last building would cost about $400,000 to the man who bought it, and then he tried to sell it to me for $1.5 million.
Holy mackerel!
3 years later.
Yeah. So, yeah, but that could be you, 5 years after you buy this property, and that's the other thing. That's the thing that I'm kind of an amateur student of real estate investing, so it's something that fascinates me, and eventually I'd like to get into it. But you have tenants there, they're paying down your mortgage, they're helping you to build equity, and then the property, historically most property, unless this was unless 2008 happens again, historically most property will increase in value. So you have that appreciation. And you have all those things, and then you have the cash flow of being able to, either have your expenses paid or maybe a little extra at the end, ideally. But then it reduces the expenses of your business. So it's really a smart way to do it.
How many square feet are you going to have actually in showroom space?
This building, if I get it, is 6,000 total, 3 in showroom, 3 in office, and kind of a warehouse. So I don't actually have to use a separate warehouse for the time being. But yeah, it'll be 3,000 square foot in the front end.
Nice. And so you said Kitchen Envy will be part of that. So will that have like its own entrance and its own thing, or?
It won't be a physical location yet. I have this vision of Kitchen Envy in some downtown space with some exposed brick and cool beams, like 150-year-old building, which isn't really going to be this setup just yet. So Kitchen Envy is more this abstract online presence for the time being. And then in the future, when I have the finance to do it, then I'll open the showroom.
That's great. I didn't know about I actually didn't know about the Kitchen Envy being a separate entity that was your it's kind of like your alter ego that,
it is, it is my ego. Honestly, it's ego. It's trying to do cool things. It's just like vast majority of designers out there, they want to show off like how unique the space is, how cool the space is, how detailed, how functional. That is the idea. Because not everybody as a client can afford those details, but they are out there, and I've been finding one every here and there, and I'm slowly building up that network, so that Kitchen Envy will be a full-time reality.
That's great. Now, speaking of unique spaces, I want to let everybody know this is not a Zoom background behind you of a rendering or a photo of a project you've done. It's your actual kitchen, and it is freaking gorgeous.
That's gorgeous.
Can you give us a quick tour of it?
Yeah, I can. Let me screen share on here, and if you don't mind enabling that.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yep. So something that I'm eventually, I was hoping to do it this past week, but that didn't work out. I'm eventually going to be turning this interview show into a podcast, just so it can be consumed in other ways, because I know sometimes people don't have time to watch it in the Facebook Live, and they don't have time to watch it on YouTube. So for those that are hearing this as a podcast, sorry you don't get the visuals, but I'm sure there will be show notes that you'll be able to go and see these beautiful pictures. So carry on.
Well, this kitchen, I right where the dishwasher and this drawer bank over on the left side actually was where my range was, and the microwave was floating by itself. It was a terrible design. There was nothing on that left wall where the fridge is. There was no island. There was no little niche on the right. There was maybe 3 functional cabinets in the entire thing. But when I bought the house, I knew I'd be doing something to it. And long story short, I found mold, ripped out the cabinets, found mold in the floor, ripped out the floor, ripped out a second layer of floor, and then found asbestos and ripped out.
Oh my gosh.
And I just started from scratch.
Wow.
Which was an undertaking while working full time, because I did the labor myself for everything except for the plumbing, the electrical, and the final drywall. But it turned out beautifully.
It most certainly did. Yeah. Is that hood custom?
What's that?
Is that hood custom? Is it custom out of reclaimed wood, or?
Yeah, that's actually a barn from a city called Fenton here in Michigan. That was ripped, power washed, cleaned, and everything. And then I built it with magnets. So it's all pinned together on the side.
Yep.
But the whole side right here is magnetic and come off, so you can do all the ducting.
Oh, that's awesome. I think there's a product opportunity here, Nick.
The hood's gorgeous, isn't it?
That is stunning.
I got the matching. My whole ceiling out here is actually in the matching barn wood and everything.
Wow.
So here's the original kitchen. And then but as a kitchen designer, I mean, any kitchen designer gets to design their own space, wants to do something that's abnormal. So I never get the ability typically to do a niche behind the range or typically an exterior wall. I'm a completely interior kitchen. So this was a wet wall for the bathroom behind. So I had a 2x6 wall to work with. Got a fun little niche in here. I knew I wanted to do some cool ventilation. So door style and the cabinets weren't a priority on this one. The backsplash is a porcelain, but looks like a rustic wood.
I love it.
The tops, these were $20 a piece. These supports under these corbels from a blacksmith in Texas on Etsy. I got really lucky finding
He's way undervaluing himself. Holy
Yeah.
mackerel.
Those are gorgeous.
him anymore. Otherwise, I'd be buying more stuff from him.
Right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, it was a
That
fun
is
project.
amazing. Now, what
my-
about that built-in on the right-hand side is
Yeah, that's really
fantastic.
exciting.
What was that space originally?
Yeah.
That was part of a bedroom. And let me pull that picture up right here. So this wall used to extend straight across, and there was no closet coming in the front door. It's just another dining space. It's really awkward. There's like room for 3 dining room tables in here. And so I reframed the bedroom walls, added a closet in the bedroom and a closet outside of the front door. And it left this weird space. So I didn't know what to do with it until I created my dog food storage area. It was beautiful.
That's awesome.
That Chevron tile was that was a fun undertaking.
Fun.
I'm not a tile expert by any means. So actually, once it turns the corner here, the chevron turns again. So almost every piece in here has been cut in some sort of way other than the middle section. It took me
Wow.
6 days to do.
Wow.
That was an undertaking for tile for me.
That's a labor of love for sure.
I won't do that again. And that's why I work with professionals now. I'll let them do it. And then there's my pride and joy, my thermador.
Awesome. So is the hood vented out? Do you have it venting like up and out somewhere, or?
Yep, vents up through the roof.
So is it just a single story?
Yeah, I'm on a ranch. I'm on a
Yeah.
little, no basement, no second floor house on a canal. So storage is definitely a necessity. That's why the kitchen became so big, and I had to add closets and everything because there was nothing in this place.
So I love the door in the hallway going into the bathroom. I noticed how you actually match that.
Actually, every door in the house is painted to match.
Is it?
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. That's fabulous.
Yeah, my last house, I painted every room different. I'm like, I'm a designer. I'm going to get creative. I'm going to do every room unique. And then I got to do it. I'm like, this is a nightmare. I will never do this again. So in this house, I built the color scheme, and then every wall is the same paint. Every trim is the same color. Every door is the same color. And this cohesive color scheme made the final design of the entire house so much more cohesive. Everything flows, everything functions. I can move decor from one room to another and not have competing styling or anything like that. It made blending the space so much easier. And I've actually taken that into the way I design. I was at home yesterday and she's like, well, what do you like about this green paint color? I was like, nothing. I was like, we're changing it in the other rooms. Let's change through here. And she's like, why? And I went through that same spiel. And she agreed. And I know that's not for everybody. I do accent walls and different like offices and fun colors, but typically I like to keep that cohesive theme throughout.
Well, you talked about the 2 different models where your mom had the model where she sells cabinets, countertops, and various things. And then you're going more into design build. So in your model, I see that just from looking at this and how you match the door and the hallway, that you're going to just redo the whole room. So if you do a kitchen and there's a fireplace off of it, you'll probably address that.
Yeah, I've got one right now. I was doing the flooring. I'm doing the kitchen already and the powder room, laundry room, stuff like that. And I was walking through the living room and I was like, this fireplace isn't going to go with all the work we're going to do. And she's just like, oh, it's not? I'm like, no, not at all.
See, did I not predict that you?
And now,
That's
I added
awesome.
the fireplace and of course, fireplace. I put beams in the rendering, and now she has to have those beams too. And I just added a whole can of worms to it.
Yeah. Do you have any of your renderings that you can queue up? Because for anybody that hasn't seen them, are they handy enough that you can show a few? Because you do a fantastic job, and I think in a design build type of situation, it's great to have that skill set.
This is a decent sized project that I'm working on right now.
I remember this one.
Custom cabinetry.
Have you seen this one? I don't think I've seen this one.
Yes, you have.
Here. This was fun to draw, but I won them over. I was against 5 designers in this project, and she had all of her names on her kitchen fridge. And I was like, oh, what's this? She's like, oh, well, those are all the designers going to work on my project. And I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of odd. Halfway through the appointment, she walked over to the fridge and crossed one of the names off. And I was like, Well, that's a great sign. And by the end of the appointment, she's like, hold on one second, I got to make a call. And she called and canceled her next appointment. I was like, all right, 2 down, 2 more to go.
Yeah.
And so I end up beating the other 4 companies out, 2 from just
Wow.
like, she said pure excitement. She said, you're excited and that's why I want to work with you. The other 2 was because of the rendering.
Wow.
Let's see what else I get.
This is gorgeous. I love this. I remember when you started it, there wasn't the blue in the plan, right?
Where was I? I've got to start. I got to start paying closer attention. I'm just. It's been December's been a month. But anyway, continue.
I just had my custom samples come in for that. A lot of fun distressing. We're going for almost this old world, almost like a French or English feel to it, without feeling old world. She wants it like a modernized version of it. At least that's what she's trying to articulate to me, but we'll see.
Is that going to be quarter sawn oak or?
That one, the beams will be quarter sawn oak in the ceiling, but the cabinets will be a distressed, cerused, washed, different paints. So
yeah, cerusing is amazing, and it's really becoming more and more popular.
I mean, I was at a house yesterday with a past client. I'm doing his bathrooms. I did his kitchen before, and I brought out the sample. I was like, and here's how we double our cabinet price. And I pulled out the white oak spruce, something from my private labeled cabinet line. And of course, he fell in love with it. He always does. Along with the gold tub I showed him that now he wants to do. So, yeah, and this one right here, I just drew this the other day. This is for what soon to be my sister-in-law. She has a little itty bitty kitchen. I mean, her walkways have to be like 27 inches in a galley. Terrible. So we're opening up 2 walls in there and making that space much bigger.
I'm sorry, I'm speechless. I just keep going.
Oh, all right. I mean, I'll see what else I got here.
Now we've got to see the kitchen from the KBB magazine that you were in recently.
Oh yeah. Thanks, Karen. I did want to mention that.
Oh, here's another fun.
Oh, I love that. Love.
Just
love.
Fantastic.
So, and then I've got one more fun one. Let's see.
So those shelves, those brass and white shelves, did you do those out of just custom shapes?
Yeah, just obstacles.
Yeah, I think people are and especially Jackie. Hi, Jackie. I know you're watching. They go right to SketchUp for stuff like that. But I'm a huge fan of doing it in 2020 if you can first, and then going to SketchUp, because the stuff you get from SketchUp is always going to take up more resources than the stuff that you create right in 2020.
Where did you find the island pendants?
Oh, these ones?
Yeah.
These on SketchUp, and then I changed some of the colors and textures in there.
Those are cool.
Now I can't get them anymore. But I mean, Jackie's impressive at his SketchUp. He's made models for actually that first kitchen I showed. He made a model for one. So, the project that let me open up. I'm sorry, I should have been better prepared about.
No, that's okay. No, that's why we freestyle this, because we just let it take us wherever it goes. So
let me pull up this one here. See, this is for
this is not going to translate to just
No.
audio very well, but
Those lights are crazy.
Awesome. I was actually, I think, did I use that one? Did I use that one in the announcement for today? I think it did. Yes, because the other one I used was the lit up. That's fantastic. I love the story of you and Brandy lighting the bottom of that countertop.
And that took us way too long. That took us 2 days just to light it. I mean, there are 7,200 LED diodes in the bottom of there. Yes, they're on panels, but we had to solder all of the panels together, and that is not our skill set per se. So we learned a lot that day. But this project, man, she was an awesome client to work with. Every time she saw something, she had to have it. We walked into the flooring store. She saw this barnwood in the store, and she's like, "I've got to have that." I showed her a picture of lights. She said, "I got to have them." Like, they're discontinued. I had to then acquire them somehow.
I mean, that flooring alone must have been like $40 a square foot.
That flooring in there cost 21 grand plus install.
Yeah.
It was probably close to, I believe, 35,000 all said and done. Isn't the most expensive floor I've ever done, but it's up there.
It's gorgeous.
Because they actually, my guy Ed actually mills all this down and creates this floor himself.
Wow.
So that's the really impressive part. I've got a custom floor guy. He's just incredible.
Oy, oy, oy.
It's a showstopper. It really is.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find a good like rendering to the final.
Actually, can you go to the lit? I saw that you had the picture of it lit. I think it's in that same folder. Yeah, there we go, right there. That's really awesome. And then the other one that you just had before that, the look at that is amazing. That is that
Quartzite? Is that quartzite?
That's a giant quartzite patch inside of this this granite. So we walked into the granite place because quartz wouldn't cut it for. And we walked around all the aisles. All of a sudden, something caught her eye in the back, and it was this slab of this. It's called Zen, with 2 spotlights shining through the back of it. And she's like, "I want that." And I'm like, "I've never lit a countertop before." I'm like, "Yeah, I'll do that. No problem." I not that I regret agreeing to it, but I mean, I would later have to, of course, light it myself. And her husband actually helped out a decent amount too when it actually went for install day. Helped do some of the final wiring, which helped out because I wasn't able to be there for that. That was scary for the 6 guys coming to install it.
Yeah.
Is that a Breezo articulating faucet?
That is the Breezo Arteso.
Yeah, that's gorgeous.
So, the gold to me is just absolutely incredible. And I used to hate gold. I was like, everything's got to be silver, silver. Brandy and I were ring shopping. I'm like, oh, I love this gold. I was like, now I've got gold glass and I got gold tie clip. Gold's coming back.
You're in the gold phase.
You missed the first round, but you're here for the second round, so that's good.
Okay.
Gold will come back.
Absolutely. Yep.
Bronze, we're waiting for you. I mean,
I have tried to get customers to use that faucet for years. And I haven't succeeded, so that's gorgeous.
Well, it ain't cheap, number one.
Yeah.
Here's another one with it.
Yep.
So, this kitchen, I'm actually going to London for the International Design Awards for Design at All for this kitchen. I'm excited about that.
That's awesome.
For assuming that we don't get pushed off again.
What month is it going to be? It's in 2021?
Yeah, 2021 in September.
September. Oh, okay. We should be okay by then.
Fingers are crossed.
I'm being optimistic.
FDA approved the first round of vaccines yesterday. So
yeah, that's why I was on NPR earlier, listened to all about what's going on with the vaccine.
I just hear it at the end of every day. My wife's an infection control nurse in a nursing home, so she's on the phone with the CDC daily and all that stuff. So
you get the firsthand knowledge.
Yep.
Anything else you want me to look around on here? I got lots of fun stuff. I've taken over 300 kitchens of photos because I do my own photography.
Oh, I was going to ask you about that because your About Us picture on your artisan website has you with a camera, professional camera. So is that something that you do just for yourself, or is that something that you do as also a side hustle?
I do it just for my mom's company and myself. That picture, I was actually in a wedding, and then my friend who's the photographer, second camera, I had to leave, so she said, "Hey, this is yours." I'm like, "Okay, I guess I'll take over and help."
Yeah, I was gonna say, it looked like a wedding.
Yep. But I when I first started, I have this like insane ability to see flaws in things, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But I would always look at the photos like taken on just a little cheap camera, and then would later become like phone cameras. And I'm like, man, these are just terrible. I'm like looking at all these incredibly shot photos. I'm like, how do I get there? And so over the past, I think 9 years, I've photographed so many projects that I'm starting to scratch the surface, but still very amateur on the photography side, but I do love it. I love seeing it all finally done. That's my favorite part is what does this thing look like when it's all done? Did I nail it? Does it look like the rendering? I do have a.
We just had a Brandy sighting.
Oh yeah.
Just a quick question. So your design sensibilities, color and all that stuff, is that innate? Is that something that you, how did you learn, all that?
Let's see. I am not a person with innate design eye, I don't believe. I know there are people out there that just see it. They see it, they know it, they can grasp it. To me, it's been a lot of learning. And I always have my eyes open. I always have my ears open. I'm constantly looking and learning. And I know that every project and every client, every contract I work with has something to teach me. And so I tell my clients, I'm like, I will learn something from their project. I will make a mistake on their project, and I will learn from it. Just because, I mean, it's trial and error. But design on the color side, I used to design websites before I designed kitchens. So that has helped a lot. I have taken color theory classes, but it was mostly just learning what works together, what doesn't. So, I mean, here's that before and after of that kitchen I was just showing you.
Yeah, you mentioned also that you thought the photography is very important on the kitchens.
Extremely. I mean, when we started, when my mom opened her company in 2009, right in the middle of the recession, very, very, very bold move with 2 kids just graduating from, we were in, private colleges. I mean, she did everything she could as a single woman to pay our way through and help us get through that. And then to quit her job and open up her own kitchen and bath was an undertaking.
Wow.
And so I like I was saying before, I saw the flaws in the photos and everything. So I started teaching myself that, and I realized that anybody can sell somebody cabinets. It's what can you do with it? So when when the economy, everything opens back up, home shows again, is we don't have any cabinets. We don't have any displays. It is all pictures. It's all just showing, here's what we can do with this. And I find that people who understand the value of a unique space can grasp that a little bit more. They'll see these unique spaces and be like, wow, that's incredible. They can do all of these different styles, all of these different schemes, all of these different projects, and they don't never see a repeating theme. I don't have a set paint color that I use. I don't have a set cabinet color. I don't have a set anything. Every project is unique, and the photography is worth every penny. If you find somebody to go out and take your photos for you, or if you learn to do it yourself, it's worth it. That, and then reviews. Ask everybody. I don't care if it was a top only job or you sold them some hardware. Those reviews add up. And my last company, we got 300 some reviews. I mean, people don't even question it anymore. They just and you typically, and I don't think a lot of people realize this, but you don't typically get reviews unless you ask for them. So you can't be afraid to ask for them. Because people are more willing to write a bad review when they're upset because they're thinking about it, but they don't get to their kitchen and think, I need to go write a good review. Like, wow, I love my kitchen.
Yeah.
But once you remind them, and I sometimes remind them multiple times, they add up, and that's what I'm pushing for right now. Is my big push is to get those reviews, get that bounce and pushed up in Google. So, I mean, when people see somebody, I mean, even contractors, if you look at contractors, they've got 5, 3, 10, maybe 20 reviews out there. I mean, I work with a contractor who's got 30, 40 reviews. So, I mean, he eclipses these other companies that don't have that kind of presence online. People love it. They come right to him for that.
Yeah. And the other thing that learning photography does for you is it helps tremendously in rendering, because you know that same composition that you use for taking a photograph of a space gives you the ability to better showcase the space that you're rendering.
I agree. I've tried to match my renders to how I'm going to actually, I know it sounds silly, to how I'm going to take the picture when it's all said and done. That's what I've been searching for, is like I have a before and after file that will show what the, there it is,
Hmm.
the two spaces.
I think I might have the things in front of that.
Yeah, I got it on the screen share. So once it's all said and done, did I do it?
Yeah,
Did I give them what I told them I would, basically?
yeah,
That's
Yep.
excellent.
yeah, it is. It really is.
Now,
Yeah,
you
and-
also have your CKBD right now, correct?
Yep. Yeah. CKBD, caps, and licensed builder.
And then you're going for your CMKBD.
I am hoping sometime either late this year or early next year to send that application.
Now, what made you become involved with the NKBA?
My family's never been involved since my mom. She's been doing this so long that, I mean, she knows so many people. She doesn't need to use that as a resource. But to me, I mean, every little bit helps. I mean, that's how you show your credibility. You don't hire an accountant without looking for a CPA. You don't hire an attorney or somebody attempting to be an attorney without having somebody who went to law school and trained. I feel like that extra little certification helps prove that we are a professional industry. We are worth it. It's not just anybody can do this job. And I mean, the vast majority of kitchen specialists and kitchen designers don't have the certification. And it is a desire of mine and a wish of mine to help influence other people so that they get theirs as well. And it brings more professionalism to all of us.
Yeah, for sure. And it's really a chicken and an egg thing. It's if you don't have people coming and looking for it, at least if you have it, you can show people that and say, bring it up in conversation, have them ask, well, what's a CMKBD? Well, let me tell you, there's this governing body, the NKBA, the National Kitchen and Bath Association. You can kind of tell them a story, and you can tell them about it. So it's there's a constant struggle, internal struggle in a lot of designers, and just conversations in the industry about having your certification, and I haven't needed it, and this, that, and the other thing, and I think that's correct, that people haven't needed it up to this point. But that's a great point that you make, Nick, that if people don't start pushing it themselves, then nobody will ever know it exists. So, and sometimes it's financial. I mean, sometimes people just are so busy, and they have to make sales in order to pay the rent and mortgage, so they don't have the time to go do it. So, it's tough. It's a tough conversation to have, but I think when, in the long run, when you're, I've been a kitchen designer for 23 years. I've never done it, but I'm in that boat. I had to pay rent and mortgage and, take care of sick relatives and things like that. And it's just never presented itself. And I've done okay. Would I have done better? I don't know. Quite possibly I could have, but people don't know about it unless you talk about it. And the NKBA, in my humble opinion, doesn't do a great job of letting the average consumer know about certifications and what the NKBA offers. So I think that, if you go and do it on your own, and even just an AKBD, just having that, just that conversation started. The AKBD exam is not difficult. It's not expensive. And it's a great starting point, so that at least you can have that credential after your name, and it starts a conversation.
Well, I think it's a great investment. When I did it, I made an investment in myself. And I think everyone we've talked to so far, Colin, that has the certifications, that, we all feel as if we invested in ourselves. And I think it does. At the time, I didn't think it would make me smarter, but I think it did make me smarter. I don't know if you found that, Nick.
My favorite part about this is I'm counting 23 years experience. You'll breeze through this.
Right.
For all the designers who've been designers for so long, they're like, I'm not sure if I need to do it. I mean, you'll fly. You're worth it. You've done it. You've proved yourself already. And I do agree the NKBA could be doing more, but then on the other side is what else can they do? Because we are their first source. We are their front line. So for them to skip past us and go direct to the consumer, like how do they approach that? So I think the NKBA relies heavily on us trying to promote it, that it is worth it. And yes, the AKBD exam wasn't too difficult. It's actually no longer exists. They recently removed the AKBD program and are doing a leveling up program so that they can help AKBDs, CKBDs, or CKDs or CBDs jump up that next step. So those AKBDs can take that exam for relatively inexpensive or free, I believe, and prove themselves and move into a CKBD role. Or like myself or Karen is a CMKBD, move into that next step of, hey, you know what, we've proved this, or we've done this much in the industry. I mean, Karen, you can talk about your experience. I mean, you've had decades of basically building designers and training them. And I mean, that the NKBA, they know about that, and they love that you've done that, and they've approved you for this master role. So I'm all for it, but I don't really know how else they can basically prove it to the consumer other than having us speak on their behalf.
Exactly.
I'm kind of thrilled because it was the only thing on my bucket list left.
Well, now you need to
Well,
make
that's done. Now I need a new goal, right?
So is the lowest level going to be just CKBD? Is that going to be the entry?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. So that's a written test and a practical test, correct?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the practical test is what trips up a lot of people. So when I started doing this, most of the exam was hand drawn. In fact, I think for the first maybe 5 years that I was designing, they didn't have a digital version. And even if they did, you couldn't use 2020. And that was all I knew was 2020. I never learned to draw by hand. So it would have been a complete new skill set that I would have needed to learn in order to do that. So you're right. Now with digital online, and you can take all the courses online, you can take the exams online. It used to be that you had to, I'm in New Hampshire, I was in Massachusetts at the time, I had to drive to Hackettstown, New Jersey to take the exam. That's another thing that some people, need to go to a different geographic area to take the exam, but that's no longer the case. You now can do, if I'm not mistaken, you can take all of the exams, all of the courses necessary online and do it that way.
Correct.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Testing.
Yeah. So, and then you can use a tool like 2020, and 2020 wasn't always the best tool to do that, but they've now with version 12, they have some new features that make you able to do all of the things that you need to do in order to do the drawing portion of the exam. And there are study groups. Friend of mine, Nicole Janes, she has Kitchen and Bath Design for Interior Designers on Facebook. She has a study group. So you can, there are study groups that you can join. So yeah, now's the best time, especially where, things are, locking down again, and, do it. I think I'm thinking towards it now. Which
introduction of those pieces into version 12 would have been so nice. I've never hand drawn before, and I hand drew my exam because I could not figure out how to make it look like I wanted to in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody is looking to do it, train yourself early how to do more of an architectural look at a plan or an NKBA guideline plan, or learn AutoCAD, which I've learned AutoCAD last year, and that would have been the easiest thing in the world to do it on.
Right.
I wish I would have known that when I took my exam.
Yeah, I geared up in 3 months, and I had never really hand drawn kitchens, and I had to do hand drawing in the course, but I went to New York and took the study course with David Newton. And then, so if I could do it in 3 months, anybody can do it. And that was the CKD, and then I went and did the CBD after that. So I think that, definitely it's doable. I think people are afraid sometimes of the drawings, but it's really not a problem. It's like you said, if you've been doing it a long time, it's easy.
Right.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to fail.
Yeah. Guess what? You can take it
Yeah,
over.
I think that's people's worst. They're their own worst enemies, aren't they? They're,
For
it's the fear of failure that stops. I know. I can speak for myself, and I know that's a trait that I have that I fight against every day. So, it's something that I think is probably a lot of that out there.
yeah, believe in yourself and surround yourself with people who believe in you.
Did you
Yep.
ever feel like you were jumping off a cliff when you started your own company, Nick?
Oh yeah, I left the cushiest job. I mean, we were the largest kitchen and bath in, like, if not just our county, the next 2 or 3 counties over, with hundreds of reviews, hundreds of pictures. I mean, the amount of work coming in the door is just insane, and it was tough. It was tough to leave. Now work is less. It's a little bit more sporadic, and I actually have to work a lot harder for it. And it feels like a decade ago when my mom started. I mean, I'm off on my own the same way she went, and yeah, I'm scraping for every little bit. That was one of my dogs, if you could hear that.
Didn't, but that's okay.
It was like, "Meow." But yeah, it's been fun too. I've learned so much in the past couple months, especially on all these other products. If I go into this design build mentality, I mean, I've never done faux beams. Well, I've got all kinds of connections for that now. I'm doing doors, windows, door hardware, fireplaces. I'm learning so much about lighting that I never knew. I mean, expand your horizons, basically, kind of thing. My projects I used to be able to pump out between 2 and 5 projects a day, depending on how difficult they were. Now I spend an entire day just designing, rendering, and selecting each of my pieces for them to possibly get shot down. But I'm trying to create a vision for somebody. And sometimes I nail the vision, sometimes I don't, and I got to go back to the drawing board. And convincing people that I'm worth it is the other side, because I've instituted a retainer as well for my time.
I was just about to ask how you're handling that aspect of it.
Man, I was working 80, 90 hours a week at my last company. My brother still is. My mom's like, she's bumped up her hours too. Just because
Whose fault is that? I'm sorry.
Hiring a second person now to replace me. It's wild over there. And I knew I wanted to protect my time more. And I've been trying to get them to introduce the retainer, but it's scary. I mean, what happens if people don't say yes? And so actually there we tried to introduce a minuscule $250 just to weed out the tire kickers, and it backfired. Like every project for 2 weeks that we introduced it to walked away.
Wow.
Fear of more. And so I'm like, okay, how much should I introduce with that? And I came up with the $1,500 number, or 2% of the lower side of my budgeting process. So if it's like a $90,000 kitchen, and I'm going to take 2% of that as my retainer now. That way I can show that it's more of a substantial investment on their side, and it's not just, oh, I'm going to lose $250. I mean, I'll go to 4 of these companies or whatever. I don't know if I'm phrasing it right, but now I have to convince people that I'm worth the money, and people with money typically see value in that.
Well, I'll tell you, there's a theory that you can charge too little. And I can't help but wonder, at your mom's company, how many of those people would have walked away if it was $1,500 or $750, or, you know what I mean? Like, would they all still have walked away, or were some of them thinking, oh, this, that's not a lot. It's, you know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know if that's a good example, but there's a really, a major school of thought out there that you can charge too little.
I completely agree, and I think that's what happened when we introduced that 250, because the talk never came up again because of how we lost. I mean, if we're bringing in 4 or 5 people a day over there, I mean, it's a busy place. I mean, we lost dozens of clients.
So, I'm sorry. In your model, do you go to the home first and talk to the consumer, or how do you
I
handle
believe,
the first meeting?
yeah, everybody deserves a consultation, whether that's on the phone to make sure that you're even the right company for them. Once you prove that, and like, okay, if they're looking for to refinish or reface their cabinets, I'm not the right fit. But if they're like, yeah, I want to do a remodel, I'm like, yeah, let's set up in their home. And I try to plan 2 hours for every client. I believe everybody deserves that 2 hours for free. And in that time, I listen to everything that they want to do. And then I build a budget right there in person, product by product, labor, trade by trade, high and low, so they can figure out what this thing's going to cost. And most people are, of course, surprised at how expensive it is. And I use one key phrase at the end of it. Do you understand all of these numbers? Do these numbers make sense? Do you see how they added up to this?
Yep.
And people can rationalize, oh yeah, I mean, 1,500 on demo, that makes sense. 16 on cabinets, like 6.5 on tops. Yeah, about $400 for a faucet, 500 for a sink. And all these numbers, yeah, they were planning to spend those anyways. But when you add in lighting, window treatments, stools, I mean, all these other numbers that they didn't plan for, a contingency fund, a miscellaneous budget to make sure they're taken care of if something pops up. And then when you get to that 60, 70 point and they're like, oh, our budget was 40, like that's not a problem. You can get closer to there. But did you plan all of these other numbers too?
That's fantastic, because yeah, people will be like, oh yeah, we got to buy stools. Oh, the ones I like are 1,000 a piece. Oh, I didn't really budget for that. That's fantastic. So that's a couple of things to unpack that. One is the value is what you build. If people who are doing this, who are going into a customer's home, a client's home, potential client's home, don't value their time, they can't get the client to value their time. But if it's like free design. Let's just use that statement, free design. And that's basically what your mom's company does, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that sounds like a value. But if you say your initial consultation is free and you build the value and say, I'm going to spend 2 hours in your home and I'm going to help you build a budget and give you a vision for that's worth more than the free design. It really is. But you have to be able to build that value. You have to be able to show people that value. And it sounds like you're at that point where you're able to show people that value and giving them all of that in your initial consultation. And then, you say, I'm excited about your project. Like you said earlier, Nick, the lady saw your enthusiasm, show them you're excited, show them show them a good range of what it's going to cost, and give them some really neat ideas, and then tell them that the next step is a percentage of this number that we discussed, the lower end of this range. You'll probably walk out of there with a check.
And you know what? I'll be honest, my closing ratio at Dream Kitchens was incredible because I was able to prove myself. I didn't include all of the products. I did most of them. I did all the heavy hitters, so they knew the relative idea of what their project cost, but I wasn't selling those pieces. But I wanted to give them a rough idea of, okay, we have the budget for your appliances. What are you looking at? Oh, Wolf Sub-Zero. Okay, we're going to budget 25 to 30 for your appliances. Like, I have Wolf Sub-Zero now. I didn't know they're that expensive. I'm like, your fridge is 12 grand. Your range is like 12. So I try to prepare people for those, because the last thing you want is to be like, oh yeah, that cabinet budget, that's great. That's perfect. You're at 22 and like a high semi-custom or whatever. And they get all done. And then they go appliance shop and they get hit with this big number. And they're like, well, I wasn't planning for that. We need to find a way to skimp out everywhere else. Now you got to go back and redo your work. And now you're losing part of your sale. Then if you would have just prepared them in advance, they would know what to budget for. And
brilliant.
The second side of the value is you need to show them, not only is that 1,500 or 1,800 or for a master bath, they do 750 applied to that project. Here's what you're going to get for it. I'm going to put together all of these 3D color renderings for you. I'm going to pick out all these products based on, you're going to make one selection. You're going to give me a rough idea on colors that you like, and I'm going to build this for you. And then I'm going to put together a scope of work. And I do things a little bit differently since I'm including labor in my new company. I write like 5, 6, 7-page scope of work broken down by trade, each piece that's happening in that puzzle. So they know exactly what's covered on their project. So for somebody whose time is lacking, they don't have time to go around and check 4 or 5 different kitchen and baths to get pricing, all this stuff. They see this value in this package, and they understand, okay, you know what? This guy's coming in at 63,000 on all of these pieces, and the other person we talked to is between 40 and 50. All he has to do is, or all they have to do is go back and look, oh, they didn't budget for chairs or lighting or window treatments or all these other miscellaneous products. Oh, you know, we need to get our own contractor. We need to get our own structural engineer. And my goal is to tell them, no, you don't have to. I'll do that for you.
Yep.
Even if I can sell.
And Nick, oh, I'm sorry, Nick, go ahead.
Oh, that was the end. So.
Yeah, so Nick, you showed me the other day, which I don't really think that you need to bring up. You actually work this out on a spreadsheet too, where you can pull all the numbers in. And I think that's so smart. Yours was more intricate than mine. But I sort of do that too, where I try to budget out the whole project for them. And I think this is genius. Oh, you didn't see this, did you, Colin?
I didn't.
You missed this.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about doing a separate episode on helping people understand numbers. This is overwhelming at first, but I just built this because, like Karen and I were talking before this interview, is we have all these numbers in our heads. We know what these projects are going to cost based on what people are telling us. How do we give them value and show them this is where that final number will be? So I've created this spreadsheet that does it by what size the project is, and it'll shift all the size-based numbers, and then what kind of level plumbing, what kind of material flooring, and all these different things, and how difficult their labor is based on the size of their kitchen. And this will pump out a number at the end and tell them roughly, hey, you know, a medium-sized kitchen with a middle price point cabinet and middle price point, all this kind of stuff, because I move everything. I always do. I move every piece of mechanical. I do all new electrical, everything. I mean, you're starting here at 45 to 50, and that's no appliances. Let's add some appliances in these numbers right here.
And you know what's interesting? These are real numbers. These aren't like oh yeah, you could do a kitchen for 20,000. This is a real number. This helps put them in that box.
You're doing people a disservice if they say, you know, my budget's 30, and you're like, oh, I can do a full kitchen for 30, and you're in the back of your head, you're like, how the heck am I going to make this happen?
Yeah.
You're doing But the also thing with the NKBA is they recommend that 15 to 20% investment in the home. Well, if that kitchen is, or if their home's 300,000, which is not, it's a pretty average home, but depending on your area, 45 to 60,000. Well, if you look over where all these numbers, my oranges are my averages on here. If you look down here, 50 to 62. That's right about where we plan based on their selections. So it's kind of a double check measure for them.
I think about 7 years ago, there was an article that came out. The average kitchen in the United States was $57,000 for a remodel.
Yeah, well, that's every year. That's the I forget what it's called. There's I think it's NARI. I think it's NARI publishes it every year, and they talk about that. They talk about the averages, and they do that yearly. But so Nick, you present this to them before you leave the house the first time, correct?
I've been doing this on paper and working through it with my clients for years now.
Yep.
This is the first time I put it into an interactive form.
So that means that you walk in with an iPad or a Surface or something, and you can tap all these things and type them in on the screen, and you can have a check when you leave the house the first time because you're able to show them this.
I made this 2 days ago, so I'd love to tell you exactly yes. I've been using the piece of paper and like knowledge format for so long that I will be introducing this probably next week, whenever my next new lead is. I mean, I had 3 more appointments after I wrote this, but they've already. You're just going to have to change the label at the top of column C because it says 66 by 32 American Standard. You know what? I do this all the time. You were probably going to type something that you thought was somewhere else, and you were in that cell, and you typed it there instead. I literally do it all the time. I did that in Facebook the other day, and I was typing something, and I was actually typing in a comment, and it actually would have looked offensive if I had hit enter. So
So it's good that I noticed that it was supposed to be somewhere else, but
Well, thanks for pointing out. If you see anything else you think I need changed, let me know. So,
But don't
Yeah.
you think this is genius? Because
Yeah,
now you
yeah,
can
absolutely.
say a builder grade kitchen is going to be in this range, and they're going to say, well, that's not really what I want.
Right. I have a builder grade kitchen now. Why would I want a
Right.
builder grade kitchen? Unless
Well,
they're flipping the house, unless they're like,
right.
look, everything's falling apart and I need to, and we're selling the house in 2 years come heck or high water. So, then maybe they might do builder grade because, something like a Mantra or a Wolf Classic would be fine if you're going to be selling a house in a year or two, because it gives you your curb appeal, and a brand new kitchen. You can say a brand new kitchen. I mean, heck, realtors already get away with enough in listings. So that's a builder grade
Yeah, which
kitchen.
are
So
really
still
great
for a complete
budgets.
builder grade kitchen, you're 30 to
Yeah.
37,000. That's
Yeah.
Changes not
brilliant.
There you go. So I will see. I'm hoping it helps create value. I'm always looking for value. I mean, most of what I work is here in this middle price point cabinet, somewhere between 10 and typically 18. And that's where the size changes it. But my favorite are here.
Mm-hmm.
I have my private labeled luxury cabinetry, and then of course, like an upgraded higher end semi-custom. Most people, they call full custom. I call a high end semi-custom, just because if it's still made in a factory, it's still not.
You're right. Omega Pinnacle is still a high end semi-custom. It's just super customizable.
Yeah, if you can draw with it, no offense to 2020, I love 2020, it's my favorite program. If you can draw with it in 2020, it's probably not in that luxury series.
I agree wholeheartedly, and I've been having conversations like that recently with folks. So hopefully next week it'll be interesting, because I haven't etched it in stone, but I'm supposed to be doing a comparison of 2020 and Chief Architect with a very, very smart young lady named Kelly Fridline, who is a Chief Architect wizard. And that's really kind of you get to a point where 2020 just doesn't make sense. And hopefully 2020 themselves recognize this as well. And I know that they'd love to sell just the first level that has the generic catalogs, but it's a cabinet sales tool. That's the bottom line of what 2020 is.
Great for exactly what it does. And I mean, I do my initial renderings even for my luxury stuff in a 2020, but I learned AutoCAD last year, and it is a great secondary source for help. So I don't know if my screen is still shared, but
it is. Yep.
You can do on AutoCAD are just insane. The level of detail that you can get into. Yeah, I can't render it the same way, but I can show, okay, this is going to be a refrigerator. I mean, I can show my latch hinges on the front, my splayed up front on the island here with that mesh.
Mm-hmm.
This is actually my backup island. My new island's all one piece. I mean, I have this little hutchy guy right here. So, and I can change all my size. And so when I get into really customization, this one's not actually that bad. The AutoCAD helps. I wish I could do things like this in 2020. It just takes a lot longer to try and create that representation.
Right. And you're not creating a 3D version at the same time.
That's it. You're not, this is drawing line by line.
Right. And I think that's what a lot of people don't realize about 2020. And that's the beauty of 2020 when you're in the sweet spot to use 2020. You have a 2D representation, a 3D representation. You have in all the good catalogs, you have the ability to actually have a visual representation of the innards, like the rollouts and the pullout trash and all that stuff. And then you have database entries for every door, pricing for every door style, every upcharge. So it's I think what's lacking in the elevator pitch for 2020 is, this is fantastic, and AutoCAD's been around forever. But what I always say to everybody is you can design a bolt, a printed circuit board, a kitchen, a skyscraper, a 747. You can design any of these things in AutoCAD because they are designed in AutoCAD. But, you can't design a 747 or a skyscraper in 2020. So, 2020 is designed for kitchen and bath spaces, and then, some spaces outside those spaces. But if you get into a whole home or anything like that, then it's, and that's where things like Chief Architect and even SketchUp has, the ability with the tools to do all that stuff. So Nick, thank you so much for spending the time. It's great to see you, and it's great to see you on the path that you're on. I been following you from afar, and when I met you in Vegas, it was really great because you just have this energy about you, and I can see why you're so able to get people to the folks. I had done and some of you know who you are. I had put out that I wanted to meet some folks when I was at KBIS, and I put out a call and to meet at the 2020 booth, and Nick was the only one that showed up. So thanks everybody. But Nick, thank you for showing up. I really appreciate that.
Brandon, he's still hiding, I think, but next time in person, we'll be there again. So
yeah, definitely. I'm looking forward to that, and looking forward to watching your company grow and stay in touch. And if if you want to send me that spreadsheet off screen, seriously, I'll be happy to proofread it, go through it, and see, because I've had a lot of design build experience, and I'm happy to give you any input.
Right. I think you're going to try and figure out how to market this thing and sell it.
That works too.
And if there is a possibility you could do that.
Yeah. There's a high probability that you could do that, but you have to start protecting it, like not showing it on the screen when like 20 people are watching. But
if they can do that kind of coding in Excel, good for them. Let them. I mean, that took me hours to write the code for that.
Yeah, but it's great that Google Sheets does that. That's Google Sheets. It's a free app. It's cloud-based, and you can bring it on an iPad or on your phone, or it's a lot harder on the phone because it's.
I've actually got a really large. It's twice the size of a normal iPad. It's called a Samsung View 2, like 700. And man, you put a full kitchen rendering on it, and I put it right in front of my clients. I put it on like my phone's wireless, and I put it right in front of the client and bring up their kitchen on it. And they're stunned. See it not just printed. If printed, you lose some of the depth. That's a great investment. I mean, less than an iPad.
That's called a View 2.
Samsung View 2. I mean, if I had it in here, I'd pull it out, but it's got to be maybe 21 inches wide.
I'm writing this down.
Well, not another thing to buy.
No, always gadgets. Need gadgets. I'm writing it down. Actually, this is
That's
also
a
being
great
recorded.
idea.
So,
great idea.
Yeah, but thank you so much. We do need to go.
Thanks, Nick.
But thank you so much for being here. And I'm just going to end the stream. So Pugs, I'll talk to y'all soon. And so next week like I said, we're hoping to have Kelly Fridline on to do a comparison with Chief Architect, just to talk about the pros and cons of 2020 versus Chief Architect. So hopefully we'll see you on that. And then I think we are taking 2 weeks off, Karen, are we not? Because the next Friday is Christmas and the following Friday is New Year's Day.
Sounds good.
So I think we might do like a watch party of previous versions, or maybe just a watch party of The Mandalorian. I don't know.
I'll bring my baby Yoda.
Okay, so we'll be doing a watch party of some sort, both I think on Christmas Day at noon and then on New Year's Eve at noon. But more information to come. So again, Nick, thank you. I'm going to just stop the stream and we'll say goodbye off the stream. Bye, everybody.